We are back with our live coverage of the Summit 2025 here in Tempe, Arizona. And our last segment for today is with Amy Kizer, who is the managing partner at TalentLink Solutions.
Yes.
Amy, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, excited to be here.
All right, I'm looking forward to this conversation. So tell us first, what exactly does TalentLink do? And that's going to segue us nicely into what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so we are an HR consulting firm. We are exclusively dedicated to working with independent advisory firm owners across all things HR. So everything that would happen under that HR umbrella, we touch it, we help you with it.
All right, that's a great elevator pitch. So the question I had off camera, but let me bring it on camera, because I think a lot of folks would be thinking about this, is, well, first of all, our audience are all advisors looking to go RIA. And as I say all the time, going RIA, going independent, does not mean going alone. There's a lot of resources. And I think top of mind tends to be like, how do I do compliance? How do I do my technology? But they should be thinking about HR as well. So the first question I have is, how small is too small? Like, does a one-person shop really need HR consulting?
I would say yes. I'd say even solo practitioners that are just thinking about their very first hire should engage with somebody that can help walk them through all of those things that they're not yet aware of, right? Especially as new business owners, if that's the case.
Right, not knowing what you don't know, of course.
That's right.
And so I did not initially have an HR consultant. So
Lessons
another
learned.
route is just make a lot of mistakes first
Yes.
and then hire a consultant.
You could do that.
That's how I do
or
with
you
my home
could-
contracting too. I'll screw it up first, then I'll call the electrician.
Or you could just call me.
Or just, get right to the point of it.
Yeah.
So where do you see, because I probably could share some of my mistakes, but let's hear it from you. What are some of the bigger mistakes that you're seeing advisors make in the HR realm that they could easily avoid?
So I think there's several things. One is just being aware of market trends, right? Compensation is through the roof for our industry. Benefits are becoming more and more competitive. So just kind of having that market intelligence is super helpful, especially if you are going through a hiring process. I think through the hiring process, listening is key, making sure that you're asking really good, thoughtful questions so that you can actually get someone who's going to be successful in any new role. And then when you have employees, even when you only have one or two employees, there is compliance around that, right?
Yeah.
Having a handbook or other policies can help protect you as a business owner.
That makes a ton of sense. So interesting, when I hear HR, I go right to like, what's the problem? But you brought up something I wasn't even thinking of, which is essentially like the pre-hire stage. Like, how much should I pay this person? What kind of benefits should I have? I wasn't even thinking about that. So what kind of resources do you have for advisors looking to do those initial hires?
Well, first of all, we have a lot of experience, right? So I'm very knowledgeable and aware of exactly what market trends are and in the moment. So I think that can be really helpful. But also, advisors, they don't necessarily, again, know what they don't know. And so there are certainly roles that I think we see across the industry, but that may not be the role or hire that's the right fit for them. So kind of going through that process of identifying, who they are and what they're ultimately going to need in their business is super important. And so those are the things that I think I get super excited about helping them with for the planning stage.
Okay, that's interesting. So will you actually go so far, and we're just starting to touch upon that at our shop, Sovereign Financial, because we're growing fairly quickly. The idea of like these personality tests, things like this, do you do those work?
Oh yes, we actually really love assessments at TalentLink. We've built even specialized assessments around like client service or tech stack, financial planning assessments, things like that. But then also
Meaning people that would be good for those things, yes?
Yeah, so we have assessments, right, to qualify them, where they actually have to prove their skills to us to be
that's
able
so cool.
to move through the process. But even with personality profiling, I think it can be really powerful to learn any more you can about a candidate through a hiring effort. Just going to help you make a good decision.
Yeah, see, again, I was thinking more toward, I've hired the person, now I have a problem, what do I do? But there's a whole lot of stuff to be done even before that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that you don't have that problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes you are going to still have a problem. One of my as I'm going through my HR mind, should I share this anecdote? And I think I'm going to self-edit and not. So what are some problems you have seen that you could perhaps share?
I would say probably the greatest thing that we see is advisors make early hires, and then advisors are nice people who don't want to deal with a problem of letting somebody go. So even though they are no longer the right fit for the firm, for the client set, for the role, they hold on to them entirely too long. So I think that's some of the most difficult conversations that we have to support advisors through is just because someone got you to one place doesn't mean they're going to get you to the next level.
I got to be honest, we've sort of seen that as well. You know, the people that were with us when we were 100 million, it's a little different skill set when you're $1 billion and all this. So that is a very true thing. And I tell you what, I would go so far as to say is you're not really doing them any favors either.
That's right.
Because ultimately, it's going to become, he's trying to say after speaking all day, it's going to become a problem.
It is.
And for me, when there's a problem, I'd rather address a problem sooner than later. And it's not good for the firm, it's not good for the principal, and it's not good for that person who's in the wrong seat. We just started doing EOS, if you're familiar with that.
Absolutely.
So we're real big on the whole right person, right seat, and it's been eye-opening for us.
It's interesting too, I think a lot of times advisors don't think about this, but it's also not good for your clients.
Not to mention, of course, yes.
Yeah,
So do you guys get involved with EOS?
So I have a lot of firms that we've worked with that are EOS shops. We have supported them in like building rocks and things like that, but I am not an EOS implementer in any way, shape, or form.
Got it.
Yeah.
But it was really plug in, because sometimes those seats really could be an outside vendor, and I love outsourcing, right? So we have an outsourced compliance firm that we really lean on quite a bit. Whatever I think you can outsource, I think makes a ton of sense.
That's right.
And HR, boy, I mean, for smaller firms, I don't think there's a budget for a full-time HR person.
No, never.
So it seems like a kind of a perfect thing to outsource.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually had a partner of ours, they said the other day to me that HR should be right up there with compliance for advisory firms, right?
Yep.
In terms of the importance of it and the consideration of it. And the thing is we do this all day long. So laws and all of those things that are relevant to employees and having employees, you are no expert, right? As a financial advisory firm owner, you just aren't.
For sure.
So you should be leveraging someone that can guide you.
Yeah. And I tell you what, compliance and HR, they really do go hand in hand. So there's a lot of HR modules, even within compliance,
That's right.
but that's not really to say a full-on HR department.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So as we're coming up on time, maybe some parting thoughts for these folks that are looking to go RIA. They're putting together their notes. What do they need for compliance and their tech stack? What do they need for HR?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is it's a plan, right? Be proactive about it. I had a session that I did this morning, and quite a bit of that session was all about the work that you can do in advance of any hire, so that you are setting yourself up to make successful hires, whether it's your first or your fifth or your 10th or whatever. You need to plan around it and be thoughtful and strategic about it. You're going to have a lot less issues on the back end if you can do that.
All right, well, that's a great place to put a pin in it for today. Amy Kizer, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and that's going to wrap up our live coverage for today. I'll be back tomorrow for another full day of coverage here at The Summit, Tempe, Arizona. And I think we have 5 guests tomorrow, including our big wrap up at the end of the day. So stay tuned for that. Well, don't stay tuned. Get a good night's sleep and join me tomorrow morning first thing when we're back with our next session. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to rest my voice a little bit, and I'll be back first thing in the morning. Again, thanks for joining us, and Amy, thank you.
Thank you.